When I first saw the movie Avatar, did y'all see the movie Avatar? And I was sitting in the theater and I watched when they put their tails together, and then those sparks came, and then they said, "I see you." And I don't know about anybody else in the theater that day, but I almost jumped out of my seat because I was so excited. I thought, now that is the best customer service lesson I have ever heard in my life. If everyone could just understand that and embrace that concept of, I see you. So can you possibly imagine how excited I was when Leslie told me that that's exactly what you do as diversity champions? That's it? That you totally embrace that concept of sawabona sikona, where I see you, and because you see me, well then therefore I exist. That is so amazingly powerful. So I thought to begin today we would do this together, so sawabona. So then if you would indulge me, please, because I thought about this moment a lot, would you just say it to me? Sikona. Thank you. Because you see me, therefore I exist. So in order to really deliver service in a diverse universe, to embrace that concept is the total foundation to do that. But of course I understand and I know that you have to have standards and you have to have SOPs and you have to have values and you have to have all of those things. But really where service occurs, and I believe that you really learn this in your entertain program, is that it comes from our essence. It comes from who we are. It comes from, I see you, and you see me, and so then we exist together, connected. Because where it really occurs, of course we have to have all of those things in operation. So it occurs, it starts here. It starts in our heads. We do need to know our jobs. We need to know what to do, but then it has to go down to our heart. And then from our heart, it's got to come right down to our gut, because where service really occurs is there. This is where it happens. It comes from our gut, from the inside out, not from the outside in. And so I want to share with you where I first learned about service from the gut and understanding this concept. Now, I'm looking around the room, and are any of you diversity champions lucky enough to have done this when you were really young? Like, is anyone in here who's just 20? Yeah? Okay. All right, well, this may or may not be true for you, and I imagine that it's not true for you because you've been through this program. But I gotta tell you, ask you a question, really. Do you know people who think that they know everything? Anybody know people who think they know everything, right? Yeah. Well, I think that people who think that they know everything are either really stupid or they're 20. Now, when I was 20, I really did. I knew everything when I was 20, and I was in the most amazing place to know everything. It was a completely missed opportunity because I was in college, and I knew everything, and I was in school, so stupid. So here's a side effect of knowing everything. You're very bored. So I'm in school, I'm in Ohio where I went to college. I'm bored, I'm 20, I know everything. So I'm sitting in the back of a classroom one day, and I was studying to be an educator, and I'm hearing this teacher in the front of the room. She's passing out student teaching assignments. Okay, so I'm still not paying much attention until I heard her say this. She said, ooh, there's one school you could go to, but you would really have to be different to go there. I heard the word different. I raised my hand. I'm so bored, right? I said, I'll go. Take me. Different? Fine. I did not ask one question. That was it. So they sent me. So I went to a special school. They had no euphemisms for it then. They just called it the School for the Crippled Children. So that's where I went. And I went to the classroom that I was assigned, and I walked into the classroom, and there was a real teacher there. So I walked up to the real teacher, and I said, hi, I'm here to be the teacher. And she said, really? That's really nice, honey. Why don't you just go sit in the back for a little while and just observe us? So I went, okay. And I went and I just sat in the back of the room, and I observed what was going on. And what was going on was she had seated the children in a semicircle in the front, and there were 14 of them. And I'm here to tell you today that each of these children was dealing with something pretty intense, right? I'm looking at this, and then I hear the teacher say, I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer now to pass out history books. So one little girl, she jumps off of her chair, and she goes, okay, I'll pass out the books. And not one person in that room was the least bit surprised, except me. Because the person who volunteered to pass out the books, she didn't have any arms. And the books were next to me. So she comes right next to me, and she takes these 2 big, thick history books, and she puts them under her chin. And then she delivers them to the first 2 children in the semicircle. And then she comes back, and she does it again. And she proceeded to do this 7 times until all 14 children had received the books. And as I sat in the back of the room with my 20-year-old know-it-all chin kind of dropped down to my chest, I'm thinking, whoa, you little snot-nose, you thought you came here to be the teacher? You came here to learn something. And what I learned that day was my first lesson in hospitality. I didn't know it at the time. The only thing that I did know was that experience changed my life, and I changed my major, and I got a master's degree in teaching orthopedically handicapped children, and then I moved to San Francisco, and there were no jobs. There were no jobs for special educators, and so what do when you cannot get a job in what you went to college for? Exactly. You come and you work in a hotel. I loved it. So I went to work in a hotel, and there I am. I'm in this hotel lobby, and all I could think about was that little girl all those years before. And I'm thinking, why? Why is this? Why is this? And I realized that what she taught me was the foundation of service, because the first thing that we have to have is willingness. It's that willingness to just jump up and say, I'll do it. Even if it looks like you don't have what it takes to get that job done. Willingness first. And for all of you who are managers in this room, you can't teach that piece. You got to hire that piece. You can't teach people to be willing. You can't teach people to want to think about that we're all one, or that I see you. You can, but they have to be willing first. Willingness first. The second thing is patience. Any of you think it takes any patience to work in this business? Yeah. It took a long time to get those books to all those children, and I really got it. You need patience, willingness, patience. And the third thing I learned was a deep understanding, a really, really deep understanding. An aha moment that if I chose, I could learn something from everyone that I came in contact with, even if they were different than me. Isn't that what this is all about? That we can learn and that we can grow with people who are different than us. And what could be a better Petri dish than the hospitality business?